So this is the camera that I used to film my music video and to take photos for both my ancillary texts. It's a Nikon DSLR camera, so it's a really good camera. It takes good quality videos and good quality photos. It's also my own camera, so I know how to use it really well, which was really useful when creating my products. Another thing that I had to use was a tripod. This helped me take stable shots both when filming and taking photos for my ancillary text. To stand the tripod, pull it like this, and to extend the legs for different heights, you just open these and pull, and you can change them to different heights. And then if I wanted to do an upwards tilt, I would twist this bit up, and I could always do a downwards tilt like that. And it also helped keep the camera stable whilst being on the tripod because it doesn't move. And then if I wanted to do a pan, this here, you just loosen it by turning it right, and then it moves like this, which is really good when filming if I wanted to follow a character. Another thing that I did use was a dolly, which is just like this tripod, but it has like wheels along the bottom. So when I wanted to do tracking shots, it basically just pulled along the floor, and it was really useful for tracking shots, but it was sometimes quite difficult if the pavement was uneven. But this is a more in detail shot of the camera that I used. So to turn it on, you just flick this, and then this is shutter speed, aperture and ISO, which all change depending on the light. And then if you go on the menu, there was lots of different settings which were really useful. So for image quality, when I took photos, it was always best to shoot in RAW, just because when you open them up on Bridge, it helps you edit in Camera Raw, which means that when you want to edit a photo through Photoshop, you can always go back to the RAW version in case you do something that you don't like, which is always useful. And the white balance, this changed depending on what day it was. So on some of my shots I was shooting when it was quite dark outside, so I could use the cloudy or shade. And then in other days it was quite bright outside, so them other settings were useful. Found the ISO sensitivity settings. This is also another really useful one. High 1 is the highest it can go, which means when it's really dark, this one can be useful, but sometimes when you turn the ISO up, it can also reduce the quality by quite a lot. So the lowest for the day it is best, really. I would mainly have it on 1600 when it was quite dark, just because if you have it any higher, it can either make it too overexposed, or it just makes the image really grainy in darker lighting, which just doesn't look that good. Other than that, yeah, that is most of the settings that I did use on the camera, because sometimes I did actually use auto. So to switch it on to auto, you just turn it round and put it on this one. Also, it was really useful because it just meant that when you was taking a photo, if you needed flash, it'd automatically pop up just like that, and it just made sure that when I was taking photos and videos, it helped sometimes with the control. Other times, having it on auto wasn't so useful, because if I needed to manually zoom, I would have to flick it onto the manual mode, which is this one, and that allowed me to zoom like this, zooming in, out. It also allowed me to adjust this here, which is the focal lens. So if I wanted to blur things or do things like pull focuses, having it on manual would be the best option. So when I was filming with my DSLR camera, although it's really good quality, I did actually come across some problems with it, because when I was filming at the Warren, it was quite a dark studio room, meaning no matter what I did with the ISO or the aperture, because the lighting was quite strange, there was no actual lights in there, there was just some like red coloured fairy lights in the background, which you will be able to see in my music video, it made it quite difficult to gauge a good lighting point, just because there was no proper lighting for me to use. I mean, to solve this, I could have taken some spare lights with me, but I wasn't aware of what the lighting conditions were before I actually went. This just resulted in some of my clips being a little bit grainy. I did try to solve this on Premiere Pro by adjusting things like clarity, contrast, brightness, all of them settings. So I think that it improved it slightly, but there's still some areas where you will be able to see it's a bit grainy. But I like to think that because of the style of the video and it's quite indie, it just adds to the gritty indie handheld vibe, which is quite like homemade, which is a look that I was going for. So when I was producing all of my work and editing it and saving it and all that kind of thing, all of these things were useful. So I had my earphones, which were useful when I was editing, just helped me listen to the music, edit to the beat, all that kind of thing. Earphones were really useful. And then I've got 2 SD cards, both of them really useful, fill different things on them. This first one did actually fill up, so I had to buy a new one. That's why I got a bigger gigabyte, just because I knew that with me doing filming I'd need quite a lot of space on my SD cards. So these, I always had to have these on me in this little pouch when I was filming, otherwise I wouldn't have had another way to film. This card reader was also really useful, just because on a lot of the computers it doesn't actually read your SD card. When you put it in, it can sometimes corrupt it, get stuck in it, which I've actually experienced before. So with this, it just makes sure that you put it in like that and you plug it into your computer, and then all of your things from your SD card are all onto your computer, ready to open up on Bridge, which is what I open up all of my images and my videos onto view. This is the memory stick that I used for all of my different products, from first year media for my foundation portfolio and my advanced portfolio. I like to keep everything in one space so it's easy to find. I have different coloured memory sticks for different subjects, as you can see. The pink one is just for media. On my memory stick I have everything organised under different folders, just so it's quick and easy for me to edit what I need to.